Now, to kind of wrap up the conversation we had a moment ago about unsolicited advice, he's like, sometimes think before you speak, right? Referring to Kyrie Irving. Part of this conversation that I don't feel like we've heard a lot from is we saw with Donald Sterling, former Clippers owner, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, the former Suns owner, about how Robert Sarver. Yes, Robert Sarver. Thank you, Paul the Bear. About how their beliefs, their feelings, how they treated people in their organizations. Now, granted, it was a different dynamic because they were the owners or governors of these teams. And we've heard some players in the past speak out against them. Like, no, these are people that we do not want in our league. These are people that we do not want associated with the NBA or the sport of basketball. Players speaking out against that, which I'm okay with players doing that. Yeah. Okay? Hey, this is a place where I work and I'm employed. I want to be in a good space. We all want to do that no matter where we work. Now, I'm wondering because of the dynamic with stuff with Kyrie, because he is a player, the relationship is different. Okay? Kyrie's not cutting your checks, but he's also one of your friends, right? Yeah. We haven't really heard NBA players speaking out and be like, yo, can't do that. You can still be friends. Like, you and I could, like, you could check me. Like, right. Hey, Dennis, you're a white dude. Can't say that. Right? Doesn't mean we can't be cool. All right, I apologize. I learn, I grow, and I move forward. Like, hey, how can I change that? All right, how can I change? All right, how can I get better as a person? Yeah. You can check me on that. All right? There's nothing wrong with friends doing that. Are the NBA players actually going to speak out and be like, dude, what are you doing?
So I think a huge part of that, and you mentioned the player aspect, right? Like Donald Sterling wasn't one of the guys.
Yeah, exactly.
He was an owner.
It's a different dynamic.
So it's a different thing. And players, where they may have great relationships with the owner of the team that they play for, players versus owners is always a thing because when the CBA comes up, they're kind of each other's enemies because they're all trying to position themselves for the amount of money they're going to get out of that CBA, exactly. Right? So there's a natural, I guess, rivalry right there between players and owners, so it's easy to speak out against the owner when he says something. But then also, in that situation, you have an owner that said something that was racist against black people.
Yeah.
Most of the NBA is
black.
Black. So that's a different dynamic. So when you go to what Kyrie is saying, this could be a situation as to like on the other end when certain things happen, let's say, 2020, and before that, you have the George Floyd situations and all that. And a lot of times as a black person, you feel like, where are my white friends speaking out about this?
Yeah.
But it could be because they don't know what to say.
That is 100% true.
And then, so you look at this situation, if the NBA is mostly black, and this was a situation where Kyrie Irving said something that was taken, or I'm sorry, he did something and tweeted something that was taken as anti-Semitic, and he didn't necessarily come out himself and say, I am anti-Semitic, I'm against this whole thing. Maybe those players don't know what to say in this situation because they don't know if they're going to make it worse, they're going to make it better, and then that is also maybe their friend, their colleague, so they don't want to also make him look bad in the process because maybe they know his heart. Maybe they feel like he wasn't trying to be like that, but then I don't know what to say to make this better, so I'm just going to stay on the outs. You see what's happened to Kyrie already. His relationship with Nike.
Done.
Suspended, right? Other people, he may be done with the Nets for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
and that suspension without pay, and he was owed a lot of money this year. So, what's going to happen to me if I say something out of the way and I wasn't trying to?
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, plus as well, like I can see it as a player, as an outside player, being like, well, how does that? If I do speak out, how will that impact me?
Right.
Like, do people start giving me crap?
Right.
Because of this. Because people will be like, or ride or die with Kyrie or whatever he says, right? Because he does have influence. Believe it or not, us as public figures, us working in sports media, athletes, whatever public figure, you have influence.
Right.
Even it might be small, there's still influence, okay? You don't have to endorse or technically promote something in order for you to amplify something. Okay? Like you hit a retweet on something, you are amplifying that.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you endorse it, but you are putting it out there for people to view. Okay? So you do have an impact. You have like 3 times the amount of Twitter followers as I do. You retweet something, you're amplifying it, right? It's as simple as that.
It is. Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So I think something as we as public figures have to understand that we do have an influence whether we realize or want it.
But then also as an NBA player, you should understand whether you think it's fair or not. You're going to be questioned.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And being
it's questioned
the nature of the
business
doesn't mean that you're being dehumanized. Like you automatically put yourself in a different position, because if you were just let's say like what's the name of the professional lacrosse league?
The PLL, Premier Lacrosse League.
If you were a PLL player, and this is no disrespect to them, right? And you're Kyrie Irving and you do that same retweet, how many people are actually going to care?
Oh, there'll definitely be quite a few, yeah.
Some,
but not the level.
But it's not at the same level, because you look at where the NBA is compared to the PLL, there's not as many eyes on that product. So what one individual player does won't necessarily impact as many players. And you said it before. When you have that impact, you have that influence on a group of people. That's what people are worried about. You're Kyrie Irving. A lot of the kids in college are wearing your shoes right now.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids are mirroring their game after you right now. A lot of kids are very impressionable. So if Kyrie said, "Oh, this is where I stand," and then he didn't necessarily say that, but if he implies that with a post, then yeah, you could have more impressionable minds, which means as an NBA player, you're going to get questioned more than anybody else doing the exact same thing. It comes with the territory, and you have to understand that if you're going to be in the NBA, if you're going to work for network television, if you're going to do anything big. Now, the slack that we're going to take if we do something, on a local level, won't be as big as a Kyrie Irving.
Nope.
We get that. We understand that. But if this becomes a national show, and we're like number one on ESPN or something like that, I'm just speaking some stuff into existence. You know what I'm saying? If that happens, then and I tweet something crazy, I have to be ready for what's going to come after that.
Yep.
And you have to understand that this day and age, not even just this day and age, anytime somebody says something crazy, you're going to have to answer to people about that.